Hi, book club. It is Friday, September 6th, 2019. This is book club number 2 for Donner Dinner Party. Woo! Obviously, I'm not there, sorry, but this video is going to kind of walk you through what I'm expecting you to do today. So you should have gotten a worksheet from the sub today. Thank you, sub. And it should say at the top, Donner Party Reading Worksheet, Book Club number 2. So make sure your name is on that. You're going to turn that in at the end of the period so that I can make sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Today's date, so that's the first question on your worksheet, is September 6th, 2019. So go ahead and write that now. And then the next question, the date again is September 6th, 2019. The next question is our objective for today. I'm going to have the sub put that up on the board, but our objective for today is that students will be reading about what it's like to pack a wagon, plunge into the wilderness, that's what it's called, plunging into the wilderness, and just how hard it could be to move west for the pioneers. So that's our objective for today. I'll repeat that. Students will be reading about what it's like to pack a wagon, plunge into the wilderness, and just how hard it could be to move west. So, my sub, if you want to go ahead and pause it here, everyone needs to make sure they have that on their worksheet. That goes in the space that says objective for today. So we're going to go ahead and pause it, and I want to make sure everybody gets that down in their objective for today. Okay, now that you have your objective, let's go through the rest of what we're going to do today. So our agenda, we're going to do a before reading question. You are going to be reading pages 8 to 21 today. For some of you got through page 8 already, but I kind of want you to go back and we're going to reanalyze those pages. So where it says under the objective on your worksheet, it says pages reading. You're going to write pages 8 to 21. 8 to 21. Okay, so the next thing after you do your reading, you're going to do your worksheet, and you're going to kind of figure it out as you go. What does this all mean? What does it mean to plunge into the wilderness? What does it mean to pack a wagon? What does all of this mean? So we're going to kind of work through that worksheet that we're going to do. You have a discussion question, which you just need to address on the paper. You don't actually have to talk to anybody today. We will talk about it next week when I'm there. And then you'll have a reflection to do at the end of the period. So with everything that you have and all the reading and all the questions and things, this should take you all period. So let's go ahead and do your before reading question. Your before reading question for this week is, what are 2 things you remember from the book from last week? So what are 2 things that we talked about last week about the book that you remember? And what was one reason you think people would become pioneers? Why would people just pick up, pack all of their stuff, and move 3,000 miles away from everything? Why would people become pioneers? So I'm going to have the sub go ahead and pause it here, and I want you to go ahead and answer those questions. I'm going to put up a little timer. You'll have about 5 minutes. You know what? Let's make it 4. We're going to make it 4 minutes to answer those 2 questions. So 2 things you remember from the book from last week. You're welcome to look through it a little bit. So anything before page 8. And then one reason you think people would become pioneers. So you have 4 minutes. Okay, now we're going to read pages 8 to 11. Pages 8 to 11. Your questions for these pages, you're going to write down 2 questions or things that you notice about these 3 pages from the story. You're going to write this in the first section on your note sheet that says first section, pages 8 to 11. So 3 things you notice or 3 questions you have. And then you need to kind of explain to me why you picked those things. Why did those things stand out to you? Again, this could be a review for you, and maybe it was just you didn't notice them the first time. So these are your aha moments. What did you notice that really stood out to you? So we're going to go ahead and read pages 8 to 11. So you can go ahead and pause this now, and we'll do that. Okay, so you've read pages 8 to 11. So we're going to read pages 12 to 14 now. And these are some things that I want you to write down in the second section of your worksheet. Is what did you think was important about this section? What do you think the main theme of this section was? What is it setting up in the story? What are they trying to do here in the story to set up something for you? And what are 2 details that you notice? Also, why do you think, sorry, hold on, this is my dog trying to get on my couch. Why do you think those details were important? So, what is it setting up in the story, and what are 2 details that you noticed about the story, and why do you think those details are important? So that's your next section on your notes. So that's going to be the second section. That's pages 12 through 14. So go ahead and pause me here, and you guys can read pages 12 through 14. Okay, so now we are on to pages 15 to 17. And in this section, James Reed has a big kind of quote that he does. He does this little speech. And this is what I want you to recognize from that speech. He says, "The distant land of California is free. Free for those brave enough to claim it. Onward to fortune, onward to glory." That's just part of the big quote. I want you to read through the rest of it. I want you to notice what he says. But the main thing I want you to catch there is onward. Onward to fortune, onward to glory. So, what is he looking for as he's traveling west? What are these things that he's super interested in? So my questions for this section are, why did his wife get angry at him for saying that? And what does this quote kind of foreshadow in the book? Or when I say foreshadow, I mean, what is likely to happen, or what can you figure out is going to happen because of what he said? So he says, onward to fortune, onward to glory. What is that kind of setting up in your mind is most likely to happen in the story now? Okay, so go ahead and pause me here. Go ahead and do pages 15 to 17. Thanks. Okay, so we're to our last section, pages 18 to 21. This is our 4th section of the book for today. There are some things that are happening now as they're traveling west, the Donner Reed party, or the Reed and Donner families. So I want you in pages 18 to 21 to tell me 2 issues that the Reed and Donners are having in this section. What are some of the problems that they're coming across as they are heading west? And then what's the Hastings cutoff? He's going to talk about it in the book, and I want you to kind of figure out what that is. And do you think at this point going on the Hastings cutoff is a good idea, and why? So kind of think about it. Do you think this is a good idea for them to take this Hastings cutoff? So on pages 20 and 21, after you've looked at the Hastings cutoff part, the Reed children get into kind of a fight. It's a little bit of a fight. What do they fight with is the question. And how do you know that's what it is? And would that ever happen to you and your family, and why? Would you ever have that kind of fight? And I really want you to think about this. Is this something that could potentially happen to you? Okay? Go ahead and pause me here. You're going to read pages 18 to 21 next and answer the questions. Okay, so here's our last little thing for your worksheet. We're going to have you do a reflection about today. So here's what I want you to think about as you're writing your quick little reflection. What's the journey been like for the Reed family so far? Has it been easy? Has it been hard? How do you know? What's your evidence? And does it seem like it's going to be easy for them to go west? Is this going to be something that's going to be simple for them? Why? And what types of things do you think are likely to happen now? So we're getting into the foreshadowing idea again. What things do you think are most likely to happen because of the things that we're seeing already? Okay, so go ahead and do your final reflection. You need to turn the worksheet into the sub. They're going to give it to me on Monday. Make sure your name is on it. Do not forget that. And I will see you guys next Friday. I hope you had a good time. Thanks.